Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we are, of course, talking about the Florida Panthers hanging on and clawing and scratching to get back into this series, winning 3-2 in overtime thanks to Carter Verhaeghe, Mr. Big Goal himself, and they win it in overtime 3-2. Vegas still leads, though, 2-1, but this series is not out of reach for the Panthers, and this is all they got to do. They got to play these home games strong, and they've got to be good. And because if they win these two home games like Vegas did, series is tied up 2-2. It becomes a best 2 out of 3 series, which would be great, especially since Florida would have the momentum winning those 2 wins. But they still got to win next game, and it is scary because this game, I've got to say, Vegas was definitely still the better team in this series. But Florida, they find a way. It's like how Ian Malcolm says, life finds a way. The Florida Panthers find a way to win even when they're not the better team. And this time, it wasn't really because of a player on their team. In the Carolina series, right? You can definitely say that Carolina lost to Sergei Bobrovsky, right? They just could not freaking score against the guy. They just could not do it. This game, though, it wasn't because Bobrovsky was amazing. It's not that the defense of Florida was outstanding. That was not the case. Vegas, you take a look at them. You want to take a look at the Golden Knights and the stat sheets for the night. The team has way more hits. They have way more shots. They have better power play. They scored on the power play. Face-off, giveaways, takeaways, blocks. Every single thing that you want for your team to lead in, they did. They were the more dominant team on everything. You can take a look at any random stat I guess you could look at. But for the most part, the most important ones that tell you which team was more dominant in the game, they led every single one except takeaways, I think. And really, and just eye tests as well, Vegas was definitely the better team. So what went wrong tonight? I gotta tell you, it's Vegas's executioner style of play was missing from this game. Take a look at the last couple games, right? Take a look at games 1 and 2. Why they scored 5 goals and 7 goals in those games. Why did they do that? It's not because they were it was because they are the way better team, but how do you play as a way better team? You play as a way better team by taking all your chances you can and score. One of my biggest points about Vegas being such a good team against Florida is that they had a variety. They had a diversity of ways they were scoring. They weren't just doing 2-on-1s the entire time. They weren't doing the same one-timers or something. It was multiple different types of goals. Tip-ins, just great shots from the sides, crashing the net. It was a lot of a variety of goal scorers for one, and how they scored. That is one thing that was missing tonight. Vegas didn't really feel like they had that mentality of just finding every single way to score a goal. Vegas, last couple games, I guess the same thing for the Malcolm quote. It's like life finds a way. Vegas just found a way to keep scoring. This game, they couldn't. They just didn't have it in them. And tonight, I think there's just some things missing. Big guys like Waugh or Carrier. Carrier, I think, once maybe crashed the net. But other than that, you didn't see those big guys going in there, making the big arm hold back, crashing the net, trying to go cut across the goaltender to go back door, right? You didn't have that. You didn't have Jack Eichel's breakaway where he gets robbed by Bobrovsky like he always does for some reason, but you didn't have that momentum booster. You didn't have a guy like Nick Hague or a guy like Shea Theodore have an absolute bomb on net, and go off the crossbar and make the Florida Panthers go on their heels, right? You didn't have the D-man jumping up on the play. I guess I just said that. But guys like Alec Martinez jumping up and getting a shot far side into the back of the net, right? Or Pietrangelo having a huge shot that tips off a player and then hits the post or something like that. You didn't have the D-man jumping up on the play and giving them some support from the back. They didn't have Aiden Hill make a crazy save this game. All those saves last game he had against, of course, the big save, of his with the stick, and then last game Barkov's wide open net backhand, and somehow Hill got it with his pad. Hey, like all of these momentum boosters at just give your team more confidence, but not just give your team more confidence, but make the other team, your opponent's team, be more cautious and worrisome. They didn't have any of that today. They were completely missing those killer moments that make your team better. And the way I describe it is last game, the last two games of the series. Like if you ever played NHL or any game on the online, and you're playing against someone that you're good at the game, last two games was when you're the seasoned veteran, you're the hardcore player that knows what you're doing, playing like NHL, and you know all the ways to score and everything, and you get a guy who's way below your weight class and doesn't know anything, right? This game was as if that team showed up and like just forgot. And I think the biggest issue is that Vegas seemed really comfortable. They seemed comfortable and more. They definitely seemed way less assertive and like aggressive out on this game. And I think the biggest reason is that the one category that Vegas didn't really, there was two categories I think the last two games that Vegas didn't have, and that was the shots and that was the hits. Florida tonight, you can definitely see that they calmed way the hell down when it came to the hits. They calmed way down, and I think that got Vegas kind of more comfortable, because I think Vegas was thriving off the Florida Panthers trying to hit Vegas, and it just not working. I mean, the Radko Gudas one of their biggest hitters, tried to do a hit and then injured himself trying to make a hit on one of their guys, right? And tonight, Florida was less in hits, and I think that's the first time in this series, and I think it's because Florida, and Paul Maurice actually said this, that they made this series way more physical than it needed to be. And Florida, I think, put Vegas in the sense of mind, like, I don't think it was like the bully being like, yeah, I'll run away, or something like that. I think Vegas was kind of more like excited to do more of those hits, because it's exciting if you can reverse hit someone, or someone tries to hit and you're like like Nick Hague being 6'6" and being like, you always saw him in the scrums just laughing, because you can see he's like, what are you gonna do? You're like 10 inches smaller than me. And that gives confidence to the Golden Knights. But this game, they didn't do that. Florida backed off from the hits, rightly so, because they're not winning that battle. And shots as well. Adin Hill and the Golden Knights were thriving, especially the arena. I know they're not home anymore, but with all those shots on net from Florida and Hill making those saves, even if it was just the easiest save in the world, the building erupts and the whole team feels better, right? Tonight, Florida backed off from the shots, and Adin Hill never really had that moment. I don't recall him making any amazing saves that really got the team going, you know? Vegas was missing all of those momentum boosters and those energy creators that of all those things that I just listed. And take a look at like a team like Colorado last year winning the Stanley Cup, right? One of my biggest things for them is the D-men jumping up on the play. That's why they were so good, is that Makar, Girard, Byram, every single Taze, every guy on that defense was in the play as well, making those offensive chances, right? That gives your team way more confidence, because you can send it to the 5 players on the ice to make a big play, especially when you got a guy like Cale Makar or Girard on the ice that can do any crazy move they can on the defensive side and keep things in play. Vegas tonight, they were doing that the last 2 games, but they were missing that tonight. One of my things that I missed in this game, and I think could have been huge for them on the power play, even though Vegas was successful on the power play twice, but what I really think was missing is, especially I think their last power play, is Jack Eichel, the one before overtime. Jack Eichel had it a lot along the left side boards, okay? He's playing with it, and he would send it back to Theodore, but Theodore had a lot of time to shoot it, but did not shoot it, and he passed it back to Eichel, who then tried to make a play, but then all fell apart. Florida sends it down the ice. One thing that puts the defending team on a power play, you want them to be out of position in a bad spot, right? So if Shea Theodore shoots that shot and Florida's like, gotta block it, right? The next time that they get, if Eichel makes that pass, because he's on a forehand from right to left here, Theodore, if he's ready for that big clapper, right, he's going to go for it, or he fakes it and gets all the Panthers like, get ready for the block because we got a block, and instead he catches it, sends it over across the ice to him like Marchessault, like they've done a lot, and then he can shoot it up top shelf. They didn't have that tonight, and that's the difference between tonight, or I guess last night, and the first two games of the series, is that's what Vegas was doing. They were missing those chances, and I think it's just because they got too comfortable. And I don't mean too comfortable as in, like, actually, yes, I do. They were too comfortable in just not having the fighting spirit, the determination that they've had the last couple games. They didn't have those chances. They didn't create anything. They didn't barrel through some guys. And I gotta say, but this goes for both sides, but the refereeing of this game has been absolutely tremendously awful. That penalty against Forsling, but they called it on Barkov for tripping on Stevenson, that was the worst penalty I've ever seen. The Stevenson skated into the guy's leg and tripped. Like, that is not a tripping by Forsling. That is a tripping by Stevenson. Like, this one time, one time in one of my games, a guy stepped on my stick, and I didn't even move it. I was just standing there like this, and he skated. He was standing like kitty quarter to me, and he went up to skate, and he just put his skate on my stick and fell. It's like, that's not a penalty. He fell. And I gotta say, the Golden Knights, and I don't like to say this at all. I usually hate being the one to say this about certain teams and trying to sound like calling a team cheaters or something. I hate people who do that, but I just gotta say, Barbashev and a couple of the Golden Knights players seem to fall really easily sometimes, especially Barbashev. I've seen him be the number one perpetrator of this because it's so strange because he can reverse hit Gudas into a concussion or whatever, and then the next moment he'll fall like he got barely touched, right? So just saying, sometimes Golden Knights feel like they fall a lot, but the refereeing has been awful on both sides. Either sides, every penalty last night was like, what? Are you, really? So, I don't know. But anyways, this game, Florida, they're back in the series. They did a good job of tightening up and being more competent and being more in the game. But overall, I still think Vegas was the better team, and I think this is going to build some momentum for Florida. And I think it all depends next game all depends if Vegas comes back with a vengeance. Because, like, this is what I was trying to say in my first two videos of this series is, as long as Vegas does not do their thing that they've done against the Stars and against the Jets and a little bit against the Oilers, is as long as they don't do their weird thing where they falter and, like, kind of just give up for a couple games or something, I think they're fine. Because they are definitely the better team all around. The issue is that sometimes, like tonight, they just show up not ready to win and not ready to fight to win. And that's really all it came down to tonight. Florida, they just did their job of being the team that can consistently score 2 to 3 goals a game. And the other team, it's just up to them. Do they score the 4 that they need to win? That's really what it comes down to. We'll see next time, and that's all I gotta say. So thank you for watching this. If you've made it this far, please, I'm begging you, pick up your free subscription. It's free, come on! And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.